Good morning, and excuse me, and welcome to Zen Fits from Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of the world. I'll explain that later. Title of this talk is When Nothing You Do is Any Good. You know, when nothing you do is any good. Everything you do is no good. Failure. Boom. You are at the You're at your wit's end. You are in a cul-de-sac. You have painted yourself into a corner. You're in a double bind. Everything has collapsed, and nothing you do can save it. This point of utter failure is what I want to look at today, because my idea this morning, my writing point, so to speak, is that it is when in your life that nothing you do is any good that Zen is aroused. Now Zen, and I wish I really didn't have to use the word Zen, because I'm not a Zen Buddhist. I've never been to a Zen monastery. I've never met a Roshi. Spent most of my life in yoga, guru yoga. So I live in Blackstone. There's no Zen monasteries here. There's no, so I'm not really, and I have no authority. I have no credentials. I have no degree. I have not been touched or received a transmission. So what is this Zen I talk about? Well, the Zen I practice, or the Zen I do, let's put it that way, was the Zen that was introduced to me by Albert Lowe, the Zen master who ran the Montreal Zen Center for 20 years, and who wrote many books and has given over 1,000 of teishos, or Dharma talks, at Sesshin, and I listen to them all the time. Have them all on flash drive. And so wherever I go in the car, Albert Lowe is my co-pilot. And before I go to sleep at night, I listen to Albert Lowe, and I listen to his talks. I've read his books over and over again because something resonated with me. Albert Lowe was practiced and did his time, so to speak, in the Rochester Zen Center, which was created by Philip Kapleau, who wrote the 3 Pillars of Zen, I believe. He was really big in introducing Zen to the United States, but what he introduced was Rinzai Zen. And the Zen teacher, Yosatani Roshi, was Albert Lowe's teacher. And he was awakened at he received his awakening at the Rochester Zen Center, and was given permission to open up a new center in Montreal and teach. So he had some authority, he had some transmission, but he took Zen in a creative way. He didn't just repeat the script, so to speak. He created a script in his writing. So his writing was creative Zen. And so if we can remove the baggage from Zen, we just get down to a recipe for creativity. A recipe for creativity. And we all know when the creative idea blooms, the creative idea is born. What is it born out of? It's born out of utter failure. When nothing works, even leaving, this is important, even not doing anything doesn't work. In other words, doing something doesn't work, and not doing something doesn't work. Staying with it doesn't work, and leaving it doesn't work. These are the pairs of opposites we get caught in. So most of the time when something doesn't work, we find, oh, it's not important. We just go on. Or we go find a savior who tells us what to do. We could call a mechanic. Call tech support, you see. And that doesn't work when you're talking about creativity. So what are the conditions that create creativity? Well, the conditions are failure. But the conditions and failure then is really a pair of opposites of doing something and not doing something. Not, in other words, so when neither option works, when no choice works, what do you do? We'll have to meditate on this. When you can't when you can't leave, when you can't drop it, when you can't quit, you can't stay and you can't quit. And this is the Zen cone or story where describes Zen as being a rat in a bamboo shoot that cannot go forward and cannot go back, and he can't stay where he is. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when nothing you do is any good? This is a meditation, and we experience this all the time in everyday life, in little ways, in big ways. We all get stuck, painted into a corner, no exit, no satra, where the power of choice doesn't work. So what do we do when there is no choice? When you can't choose? All of our action movies are about this because of our action heroes. Take Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. When his plan collapses, what does he do? What does Indiana Jones do when his plan collapses? What does Zorba do when the plan collapses? So all of our action heroes are really Zen heroes in the sense that they are demonstrating what you do when nothing works. Well, Indiana Jones he wings it. He wings it. He just flies into the situation on faith. He steps out on faith where there's nothing. No safety net, no belief, no choice, no means. So we're getting to the point, we want to get to the end, but there's no means to the end. What do we do? What do we do when there's no means? There's no way. So the great way of the Buddha is there's no way to the Buddha. It's ironic. So there's this twist in Zen, in the teaching of Zen, in the Zen koans. That's why with Albert Lowe, I really stopped just being entertained by Zen, which is, the intellectual Zen, the Alan Watts, and, so the intellectuals like me, we can be entertained by Zen. It's really interesting intellectually, but it doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't do anything. There's no transformation in it. We just take our seat in the intellectual exposition of Zen, and then we know something, and we can tell people about it. You see, but that's not Zen. You see. So what is the practice of Zen? Is the practice of dying? Is the practice of failure? Is the practice of coming to the end of your rope, so to speak. Hanging, you come to the end of your rope. Zen koans are full of that. Zen koans are little dramas where there's no way out. There's no answer. You're trapped no matter what you say. So the Zen master will hold up a stick and say, if you say this is a stick, I'll hit you with it. If you say it isn't a stick, I'll hit you with it. Now, what is it? And if you don't say what it is, I'll hit you. oh, what are you going to do? You see. So this is where the practice, and by practice I mean really your life. Life is practice. We're never the master piano player still practices the piano even though he's a master. So the practice of Zen is constantly arriving to the point where you have to leap out of the cul-de-sac on faith. So creativity is a leap of faith. But it's not a leap of faith to something you know, because the creative idea, the creative act, is something that you didn't know, is something that was unknown. In fact, it was unknowable, because if you knew it, you wouldn't create it. So you creating consciousness, which is the book I recommend by Albert Lowe, Creating Consciousness. Zen is the creation of your consciousness out of the destruction of your consciousness. So it's like you're creating awareness or an idea, or you're creating knowing out of not knowing. It's a barrier. So that's why Zen is called, the cones of Zen are barriers. And a few of the cones are called the Great Barrier cones, like, who am I? Or what is it? What is your face before your parents were born? What is the sound of one hand clapping? These are, and Mu is the most famous. These are the first cones, or the barrier cones, through which you must go in order to be able to begin practicing Zen, which is creativity. You have to break the barrier in order to be creative. And by being creative, I don't mean being Michelangelo or an artist, I mean just being creative in the kitchen, just being creative in your everyday life. Being alive is creative. Just walking to the kitchen to get some coffee is creative if you see it for the first time. If you just walk in a sleepwalking, if you just walk through your day sleepwalking, dreaming of doing things, that's not creative. So the creative life is one where you're always seeing it for the first time. That you're always fresh. You're always awake, aware, and pumped up and ready to go. Obama used to say that. I'm pumped up and ready to go. So being pumped up and ready to go doesn't mean that you're going somewhere. It just means you are awake and aware of where you are. And that is creativity. And out of that will come whatever you need in your situations to untie the knot. Your creativity is knowing what you need when you need to know it. So you're in a conversation, and if you're in Zen, if you're in creativity, the conversation, excuse me, the conversation will become very creative and joyous. Creativity is fun. It's joyous. Life is joyous. Life is creative. Life is ongoing creativity. So getting in alignment, you see, with Zen in this context, getting in alignment with the leap of faith of Zen is getting in alignment with life. It's getting in sync with the cosmos. And when you are in sync with something, when you're in alignment with something, when you resonate with something, you are what you are in alignment with. It's like Fred and Ginger Rogers dancing, my favorite metaphor. They are dancing in sync. Neither one is leading the other. They both rise together. So when you are in sync with life or your situation, then you and the situation are rising together. Not like I'm causing it, or the situation is causing me, and oh no, what am I going to do now? Or the world is causing me, and I hurt, and who did it? All these are cause and effect. When you're in sync, there is no cause and effect because you are rising together as one with the situation. This is called in sports being in the zone. So in basketball, when a team is in the zone, they can't do anything wrong. No matter where they shoot from, it goes in the basket. Plunk, 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 plunk. You can't do wrong when you're in the zone, when you're in sync, when you're in alignment with the situation, you see. So Zen, in this context that I'm playing with here, is leaping from being out of sync. Oh no, nothing's working. Why did I hurt? Why am I suffering? These big questions is going from that to being in sync, or being at one with the situation. And the situation is the world. Your situation right now, where are you? In a room, in an office, whatever, is the world. Can you in your situation be outside of your situation? Your situation is you. Can you be outside? We can think outside of it. Oh, I wish I was in California. But you're still in your situation, imagining being in California. You haven't left. So being in sync with your situation is creative. So creativity is being in resonant with your situation. Or if you're an artist, it's in resonant with your media, with the form of your art. Anyway, hope you enjoyed our little Zen fit this morning. So anyway, check out Albert Lowe's books, or go to Montreal Zen Center and check out all of his books are on there. Thanks for dropping in. See you tomorrow. Have a Zen fit.